So guys, this is the iPhone 8 clone. It's a pretty inexpensively built product, but as you can tell, it's doing a pretty good job of imitating Apple's real products. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Safety first. Okay, so a couple of things to notice. First of all, compared to the iPhone 7 box from last year, you can see this one is about 30% slimmer. So that's either because we've got less accessories inside, or because there's just less packaging and everything's just a little bit more compacted. We'll find out pretty soon. So as well as that, you can see they've actually paid quite a bit of attention to detail. For example, the Apple logo over here, or even the iPhone written on the side of the box, is in gold, and that matches the colour of the smartphone itself. It's a subtle touch, but one that, to be honest, I kind of appreciate. The only other thing worth bearing in mind is the fact that it says it has 128 gigs of storage, which, considering the value of the fake itself, is almost definitely not true. But anyway, let's not waste any more time, let's see what we have inside the box and see how it compares to maybe the iPhone 7. Okay, not gonna lie, I kinda like how that opens. It feels quite similar to the original iPhones, in a sense that they have very low amount of friction, but just enough to feel like you're really opening a hefty gift. Inside we have, designed by Apple in California. Now this is made of quite a thin plastic, not particularly high quality, and this doesn't really feel like the genuine Apple product. Inside of that, right, so it shows welcome to iPhone, and it shows a picture of what looks to be the iPhone 7. So inside there we have the smartphone itself. So then we've got what looks to be a standard pair of earpods. And I mean, aesthetically speaking, pretty impressive. They've even gone as far as to put the original Apple logo on the back of the packaging. And yeah, I mean, it feels like a very solid piece of work. They've really done a good job there. Sort of looking around the corners, you can see that the bottom edge sort of juts out a little bit, which is a sign of a lack of quality, but I'm just picking at straws here. That is a pretty good job. In terms of how they sound, I have heard similar looking earphones, and I mean, judging by those, it will be good, but not quite at where the originals stand. Not that that's super good as it is. And so you can also see that probably part of the reason the packaging is so slim is that there is no charging adapter. Do we care? Not really. I mean, for the sake of really trying to imitate the original, they would probably include one, but it's not a deal breaker here. So we do have a lightning cable, just a standard lightning cable. It has been up for debate whether or not Apple is going to introduce maybe USB Type-C for the next iPhone, but here that is not the case. And so inside the bubble wrap here, we've got a pretty nice feeling anti-static bag. And what that's there for is to prevent the components inside the phone from being fried due to a static shock while it's being shipped, because obviously there's a lot of jiggling around. Wow, okay, so first thing I'm going to say, that is a very, very shiny finish. Like, it's concerningly shiny. I can see every detail of my face just by looking at the back of my phone. You could kind of say that's an extra feature, I don't know. So the whole thing is made of plastic, as you can see, except obviously the front, we'll get onto that in just a second. But right over here, you can see we've got the dual camera setup. Now I'm guessing in the fake that this will not be fully functional, maybe it's just for show, or maybe the dual camera does work, but it's not obviously got the software to support it. But nonetheless, I genuinely think, looking at it in this finished form, it does work quite well. When people first heard that the iPhone's cameras could be moving from a horizontal position to a vertical one, there was a bit of an uproar, but seeing it here on this sort of semi-finished product, I have to say it looks pretty nice indeed. And so in terms of how it looks, you're probably thinking, doesn't that look a little bit like the iPhone 7? The answer to which is absolutely yes. And it's interesting what they've done here. They seem to have taken a lot of the rumoured features of the iPhone 8. We've got this vertical camera setup, we've got no physical home button, and then they've plonked them into what we know about the iPhone 7's body. In the end, it's very unlikely that the end iPhone 8 is going to look that much like the iPhone 7, so in a sense this is a bit of a halfway house. It's a taste of what's to come. It's got the vertical cameras, it's got a integrated home button, but actually it doesn't have all of these sort of things which we're going to see on the iPhone 8. Nonetheless, it's going to be very interesting to boot this up and see what it can do. So, peeling off the wrappings, it does start to feel like a little bit more of a premium product. Whilst the rear of the phone is completely plastic, it's not a bad plastic. It feels like a step above what we tend to see on most clone phones like this. Even though it is a little bit impractical because of the fingerprints, the fact that it looks so dazzling kind of makes me wish Apple did create a finish like this. In terms of how it feels in the hands, surprisingly it's actually 0.1mm thicker than the original iPhone 7, but still 20% lighter. And the reason for that is it doesn't have a lot of the original iPhone circuitry, and it has a smaller battery. Booting the phone up, I was surprised to see a pretty intact looking operating system. Unfortunately, this is based off iOS 10, not the latest and greatest iOS 11, but nonetheless they've done a pretty good job of staying faithful to the original OS. The phone is based off Android 6.0 and is pretty fast to use with a responsive capacitive touchscreen. It's also nice to see the embedded home button does kind of work as we'd expect it to. You press the sort of invisible area at the bottom, and there is a little bit of a vibration, and then it responds. Now clearly, unlike the original iPhone 8, there's no screen-embedded fingerprint scanner or anything of the sort, but this gives a taster of what it might be like to use this iPhone. So whilst clearly it's not going to be as good as whatever the next iPhone holds in terms of camera, I was actually pretty impressed with the one we've got here. It's an 8 megapixel sensor, the app looks and feels completely like the original application, and a lot of the embedded features actually work. As we predicted earlier, there is actually only one camera here, the second one is literally just a piece of glass, but nonetheless it produces fairly sharp images in even slightly lower lighting conditions. As a huge departure from the expected 5.8-inch screen on the next iPhone, this one here actually has only a 4.3-inch display. It's created around the shape of the 4.7-inch screen seen on the iPhone 7, but unfortunately they've added black bars on the top and the bottom so that they can achieve those curves. I'm Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll see you guys in the next one.